Guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari and I hope you have not missed my introduction to the schools of jurisprudence. If you have missed it, please go back to my playlist, watch that and come back to this presentation because that is a beautiful coverage on all schools of jurisprudence in a nutshell. Now in this class, I am going to discuss on the Analytical School of Jurisprudence. I am giving a lot of information and sufficient notes, so forget your notes and pen. I am giving notes, just take the screenshot and go ahead. While studying analytical school, you need to remember different names of this school because question may come in any name of this particular school. Now this school is called as Analytical School because it systematically analyzes law. It is also called as Austinian School because he is the father of this school. This school is also called as Bentham School because he is one of the major contributor to this school. This school is also called as Positive School because this school discusses about how law is, doesn't discuss about how laws ought to be. This school is also called as Teleological School because it discusses about the purpose of law but never discusses on the causes of law. This school is also named as Imperative School because this discusses about law as a command to the sovereign, and this is also called as English School because Austin is coming from England. Now few major authors on this particular school is Bentham, Austin, Holland, Salmon, Kelson, Gray, Holfide, William, Markbay and Hart, etc. Sir John Austin, the father of Analytical School, defines in his book The Province of Jurisprudence that the command of sovereign issued to his subjects to follow a particular course of conduct, failing which they will be faced with evil consequences, namely punishment. Now he brings three important aspects: command, sovereign and punishment. When it comes to command, it is the order, it is not a request. And when it comes to sovereign, he has many aspects to make. First thing he makes is the sovereign should be independent. It should not be coming under the control of another sovereign. For example, India is a sovereign state. We have all power to take any decision on India. Now, nobody can control on the aspects that we are deciding on India. So, it is a sovereign state. Such power should be available with the state. That is what Austin says. Now, it should be common to the entire society. When it comes to the Indian government, it is common to the entire nation. It is not bit and pieces. Like for someone, it is the BJP government, or someone, it is Congress government. It is not that. The legislature is same for the entire nation, and there can be rebel or opposite party available. But whenever the order comes, it should be from the power of the state. The sovereign should have independent power to make the orders. That is very important, and these state should be controlled by human beings. This sovereign should be human beings. That is all about sovereign, and you have sufficient notes on that aspect. And sovereign has the power to give punishment or sanction the punishment. Whenever there is disobedience, the sovereign has the power to give punishment to its citizens. That is all about Austin's theory. The next important author or equally important author is Jeremy Bentham. His famous book, The Limits of Jurisprudence Defined, where he defines happiness is the greatest good. His theory is also known as pleasure and pain theory, where he says pleasure and pain govern not only how human beings act, but also how human ought to act. Now he is trying to define he is attempting to define or quantify the pleasure. Now for that, he is bringing a calculator which is called as hedonistic calculus or pleasure seeking calculator. Now he brings 7 important aspects in this calculator. They are certainty, duration, extent, vicinity or fertility, intensity, nearness and purity. Now if you need an example, if a murder happens in a society, it is not just one person dying. There will be a lot of disturbance in his family, there will be a lot of disturbance in that society, and the entire locality will be disturbed for some time, and state has to interfere, and investigation and many other aspects are coming. With that, we need to understand, we need to quantify the pleasure coming in with a particular scenario, whether there is a pleasure or pain, and he is bringing this calculator. And I have tried putting these concepts in alphabetical order. If you see, first 4 aspects are C, D, E and F. So they are very well alphabetical, and then last 3 are I, N and P. Try to by heart them. And finally he says, to understand the motive is good or bad, we need to see how much happiness or unhappiness that brings to the society. The analytical school is criticized by many authors, especially the Austin's theory is criticized by many authors, because few of his concept is not acceptable. For example, punishment is the biggest aspect of Austin's theory, whereas many say in today's scenario most of the civil laws doesn't even have the concept of punishment. So there the theory fails. Secondly, Austin gives all importance to the legislature and he completely neglected the aspect coming from customs. So it is been criticized by the people, and he has neglected the other schools like historical schools, ethical school, economical school, psychological school, and by that he neglected many of the aspects of law. For example, criminology, penology are the recent development which is completely neglected by Austin. And he has neglected the constitution law which stands above the sovereign power. So that is also criticized, and because he is thinking about or discussing about single sovereign, he has neglected international law where there are multiple sovereigns. So that is also criticized. And when it comes to Indian context, we have many personal laws like Hindu law, Muslim law, etc., which there is no space from Austin's theory. So it is being criticized. And finally, judicial review is one of the biggest aspect available in today's legal scenario, where law ought to be can be discussed by judicial power. Now that has been completely neglected by Austin because he says there cannot be any discussion how law ought to be. Like we have to discuss only how law is and how law is given by legislature. But in today's scenario, we are seeing a lot of judicial review on each aspect by the courts. So that aspect is also completely neglected by Austin. And these are the major criticisms against analytical school. With that, I am concluding the theory on analytical school. I am coming up with next video on another school of jurisprudence. Thank you so much for watching me. Please subscribe my channel. Please like, share and comment my videos, and please press the bell icon for the notification on my future videos. All the very best for your exams, and thank you so much for watching me.